Hi friends, it's Sarah here and welcome to Country Style and Life and welcome to an episode I think you're actually going to really enjoy. I know I'm looking forward to seeing it myself, and it is of course a home tour of my pretty little house here on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, Australia. And it's a warm welcome to everyone, for everyone who's joining me again. We've already got 2 other videos that we did last year that, you know, everyone really enjoyed. This is our 3rd, so if you're finding me for the first time, a warm welcome to you. You are most welcome here today. So my house is only a little house, but it packs a big style statement. And as we go through room by room, I think you'll see that it's definitely got a lot of personality, a lot of flowers, a lot of colour, and I'll enjoy sharing the story with you of how I came to be here. So let's enjoy a home tour. It's great to have you, friends. I'm so pleased we're doing a house tour today. And of course, all good homes start with a fabulous front door, don't they? So I love just a chic and elegant and sleek black door. In fact, I've always had a black door in my homes. And of course, we love to accessorise. And I think you can see just, you know, even though it's a very small little entrance, it packs a really nice welcoming style statement. So come on in. So in coming through that very chic and simple front door, we land on the landing, and it's not exactly a posh foyer, is it? But it's a really nice, welcoming space, I think. So what I actually liked about it, the moment I walked into the house, the first thing I noticed are the tiles right throughout the house, but particularly here in this landing, which is really no more than what, sort of, you know, 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. But I really like the terracotta tiles, and what that reminded me of is, you know, everywhere I ever went in Provence or in Tuscany, terracotta tiles everywhere. So in terms of flooring, to me, that's a classic. I love them. And also being terracotta, they of course then match very much with, you know, my garden theme right throughout the house, and particularly then out the back, because it's just terracotta pot city out in my rear courtyard garden. So loving the tiles. Cool in the summer too, really nice. So what you can see here is a very simple white and green theme, which I thought was a nice way to start the beginning of the house. These shutters, best thing I've ever done. And if you've never had plantation shutters and you're thinking about them, I highly recommend them, because obviously temperature control, when the sun's beaming in, I can really close that off, and it's a very effective cooling system. And equally then love to be able to just adjust them according to how the light's coming through. Fabulous for security there at the front door. No one can see in. Once they're shut, which I really like. So plantation shutters to me are classic as well, which is very much my signature. I'm not about the trendy groovy things. I'm all about the classics. And no more so than here at home. And the first thing also to talk about is the colour. So I've always had green in my homes, painted green. This is called Banana Palm from Dulux. And what I liked about this particular green is that, to me, it's almost like a neutral, because, once we get into the rest of the house, you'll see there's a lot of colour, a lot of print, a lot going on. And so I thought the green, obviously matching, inside out, it's just a lovely flow, and it's an interesting colour in the morning. It can look sort of avocado-ish green, garden green, but in the evening when the sun comes through, it's a bit olive looking. So that's interesting, a beautiful colour, really happy with it. And then of course, just a very chic, simple arrangement with white. Flowers, baskets, birds. You'll see my mad bird obsession. Love this table, love the patina on this, just a bit chipped and a bit old, and that's about 30 years old in fact. So just really nice black touches there with the candles, white, grey, green, chic, simple. It's the name of the game. Well, now the party starts, friends, because we're leaving plain and chic and simple and coming into the house, and you will see this little house is bursting with colour and fun and flowers and touches of gold and greenery. And right from the outset, the get-go, I'll say the whole thing is based on my love of gardening and, my love of flowers and nature and that kind of thing. So you're going to see a lot of all of those good things to enjoy. So the minute that we're in through the front door, again, you'll see what is really a principle right throughout the house. And the house is a very simple structure. There's nothing architecturally interesting about it as such. Built in the 90s, sort of has a bit of a townhouse feel, but it's actually quite a decent size, and it is a standalone property. So the thing with it is it's terribly simple. So in that way, I look at it as being a blank canvas, and wherever there is a wall, you'd better believe it, I make the most of it. Point being, right here as we come in through the front door, this is a great little spot. It's really only about 1 metre or so wide, and as you can see, a lot happening. Just a really pretty little garden table here. I love anything wrought iron. I absolutely love wrought iron and marble. I had this, again, so many things that have travelled with me through various homes, and this one I've had for at least, again, 25 years or something. Wrought iron, marble top, garden table, and then of course working with the mirror, and that also is a huge thing that I make the very most of in every room. Mirrors everywhere, because of course they're catching the light, and interesting things throughout. I love the shape of this mirror, and of course, putting your mirrors everywhere, they just pick up the reflection, as I've mentioned. Great shape, this one here on the table. So I'm making the very most of the space here, the width with this kind of shape. And I layer a lot of mirrors too, because I'm short on space. You'll find that in front of a lot of mirrors, I'm sort of putting, you know, other little frames and things. This beautiful picture was one of my mother's, and I remember having this, you know, in our family home when I was a child. So, you know, if I'm 62, this is, you know, 55 years old or something. I remember being a little girl and loving the butterfly and the roses here. So again, classic things, timeless things, things based on nature are always in fashion as such, aren't they? Sometimes I'll have lots of a big arrangement of flowers. Sometimes I'll have just the simple urn, the gold candles. Mum bought me those for my 30th. And these, oh my goodness, these were a beautiful gift from my wonderful, gorgeous friend, Faye. Murano glass. Oh, so divine. And, you know, I remember actually commenting about how much I love these in Faye's home, and she was so generous and then gave them to me as a gift when I moved in here. So Murano glass, of course, and this is signed by, you know, the glass maker. So, you know, Venetian glass, very posh, very beautiful. And of course, just love that with the little touches of gold, lots of faux topiary. And yeah, it's a great little arrangement in a very small space, making the most of it. Welcome to the living room, friends, and this has to be, again, for what is essentially all together now. Yes, Sarah, it's a small space. Again, look what I managed to get in here. We've got lovely set of couches. This is a really old, I've had this for 30 years. So again, you know, when you buy really good quality furniture, just reupholstering. So that's lived through several incarnations. I like the uniformity of having the matching couch settings so that we can then fling open those doors and everyone can sort of, you know, enjoy that whole garden coming through. And I think what surprises people is because it is a small area, I've got a very large coffee table. But I love this piece, and again, it's old, and why I think you can make this work in a small area is because it's quite light, the structure of it. It's just a really pretty, you know, French-ish, chipped away at lime washy wood. It's got the very pretty cane bottom, and it's, you know, with that bottom shelving, it's light and airy throughout. So even though it's quite large, it's got a lightness to it. So again, it's always just about balancing things. If that was some big, heavy, you know, dark mahogany wood coffee table, yeah, it wouldn't work. And of course, then what's on top of it? The kids come over and laugh their heads off because there's no room to even put a cup of coffee. That's not quite true, but books, more books, which we love. And, you know, if I'm just lying here and enjoying, you know, the afternoon breeze coming through, love to sit here with a cup of tea and look at my pretty books and enjoy them, which I really do, and have things out that, you know, I love these. These are the gorgeous little sandwich plate from the Chelsea collection. Of course, I've got all of that gorgeous, you know, dinnerware, which we'll have a look at in a moment. So just little decorative bibs and bobs. Even, look, a simple little box, but look how pretty this is. Lovely friends of mine bought me the most gorgeous napkins, I believe, in Florence, and from a company. Yes, they're called Nap King, made in Italy, and that's a rabbit hole you can go down if you'd like to. The most exquisite, yeah, again, Italian linen. I love the box. Put a little green ribbon around it, and look, perfectly adorable here. Books, candles, and look, I'm surprised there are even any chockies left. So it was Easter, so well, just better have one for afternoon tea. I think this is probably one of my favourite little corners in the whole house, friends, because again, such a great example of it's a metre wide, but look what's going on. We've got a lot happening here from the ground up, a great little story. And what are you noticing? That it's kind of, what's our focal point? What's it all centred on? That's exactly right. That box of verve, which I think must have been for my 60th birthday party, is providing that pop and that piece that's of interest. And it's an empty box, for heaven's sakes. And so it's the colour that I absolutely love. And then, you know, building up from the black and white, the little ottoman there, putting the box, and then just making this table a whole little, you know, story around that gorgeous pop of Verve orange. So we've got orange tulips. Love these candles, the fantastic Candle Collective, where they take old champagne bottles and make them into candles and vases and things, which I think is very clever. So you can see it's just a really nice story built on the pop of colour of orange, and then there's lots of, you know, little touches of black, lampshade, all of the little decorative pieces here, but with, you know, bits of gold, the gold lampshade stand there, the pretty print, again, another one from, there was a series from the Metropolitan Museum in New York. So I've had them, as I said, a really long time, 25 years or more. And then this gorgeous piece here too with the gold. And then of course, well, speaking of gold and pops of orange, so always got my favourite champs on hand. Of course, I've been to Verve like many of us have, and actually got to stay there at their Hotel du Marc, which is the privately owned Verve Clicquot hotel. You have to be invited to stay, and I was very lucky to take a fabulous group of ladies from Melbourne, and we did a tour of Provence and Paris. And so yeah, Verve is my chef's kiss preferred champagne. So a really simple little story, but again, lots of fun things when I look at each and every little piece here. And that old table's been out in my garden for a very long time, but the glass top keeps it light. So remember, we're looking for pieces that will do the job of holding things and being a good size piece in the room, to enable us to decorate, but still keeping things light and pretty and going up. As you walk into the living room, this is where it really explodes with a lot of colour and, you know, really girly glam kind of things. And I think the thing that I've really been blessed with is, you know, because I am on my own, I can do whatever I want. So I came to this house and I wanted to make it look like it was a florist shop, that I was living in a florist shop, because, as you know, that's my story is that I came out of being in West Gippsland with my 2.5 acre flower farm. So I was surrounded by, you know, beautiful roses and dahlias and lavender and peonies and all the beautiful flowers that I grew and loved so much, you know, hydrangeas, and look, just was gorgeous. And, you know, one day we will do a whole little sort of background story, and I'll take you through that time in my life, because it's a fantastic story. I went out there, it was an empty paddock, and I built with my bare hands the most incredible property, bursting full of beautiful flowers. So in coming here to the Mornington Peninsula, into this smaller house, I still wanted to have a sense of largesse. I wanted things to be big and beautiful and bold and all of that. So in this living room, you'll see there's a lot going on. And of course, your living room, you want it to be a place where you are just snuggling down, you're on the couch, visitors come, everyone's sitting around. So your soft furnishings and your curtains in particular, such an important, you know, beautiful statement piece to have, and you want to make sure you've got something that you love, because it's an investment. They're expensive to get done. So I'm thrilled with this. Look at this, the most gorgeous fabric, chinoiserie style. It's called Orientalist by I Love Fabrics in the UK, and I'll put all of the details in the description box, because you might, I can see it's actually still available here in Australia, and I was thrilled to get this done. Though what I haven't done, so it's a lovely statement. I knew I wanted colour, a colour that would pop against the green paint. I knew I wanted a pattern, you know, something that really was a beautiful statement and had all the colours. You could see the colours just work in so beautifully. the birds, the flowers, you know, there's pops of green, of course, the beautiful bird here, bits of white, little very gentle pops of pink throughout, and then of course this very sort of pinky, you know, cerise pink colour that's in here as well. So it's always picking up little bits in a cushion or a candle or a serviette, or, you know, there are other colours in the house that are represented here in the curtains. So I like to have that kind of big picture feeling. The thing I haven't done here, which I would have if I wasn't using this house in such a productive way. I work a lot in the garden. I'm out there potting up, you know, pots of bulbs and that kind of thing, and roses are here, and the garden is literally, I've got, you know, garden right there outside these beautiful French doors. So it needed to be practical. So I haven't done, even though I love it, the floor to ceiling curtain, you know, with the billowing, you know, beautiful paddling curtains, because as I'm walking in here, I'm kicking off my gardening boots there. It's a really high kind of traffic area, and I just needed to be somewhat, it was so boring, had to be practical as well. So this is beautiful and I love it, but I had to make just a little adjustment so that it was a practical thing to have as well. But yes, as I'm lying here on the couch and, you know, I look up and it's just got the gold track, of course, I'm really very, very happy with this beautiful fabric. I guess somebody had to be the glamour girl of the house, and certainly the kitchen, my kitchen, she is the focal point that everybody comments on when they come in. I mean, she's kind of hard to miss, isn't she? So really what I wanted to do here, friends, was take, again, a small space. I mean, you know, literally the living room's over there and the dining room's a hop, skip and a jump that away. So this kitchen in smack bang in the middle of the house, I really wanted for it to have, you know, some kind of wow factor. I've had the houses with the big gorgeous white kitchen with the floor to ceiling, you know, glass doors and all that kind of thing, very Martha-esque, which, you know, we all love, of course. I really wanted something different, and so going for black was the way to go, because such a dramatic, chic and elegant statement. So let me just talk through some of the details. So my idea, if I was going to go glamorous and big and be gorgeous and whatnot, I really wanted to make sure that this was a very practical space as well, friends. So, but I wanted it to have an intimacy to it as well. Like it's sort of a juxtaposition. On the one hand, it's very dramatic, it's very bold, and it looks, you know, kind of big and imposing. But in actual fact, it can be very cozy, because this is a gorgeous, what is it? It's easily 10 feet, you know, 3 and a bit meters. Beautiful Caesar stone in the black with, you know, just a lovely sort of vanilla. It's called vanilla noir. Beautiful, you know, thread running through it, which I felt gave it sort of a light, to me it looks like sort of champagne bubble coming up, which I think looks really pretty. So I've purposely made it so that I can take this third, so it's really in you know, 3 sections. We've got practical things happening over there, but this section here is where I'll set up for, you know, dinner. I've got the velvet bar stools there, which just add a bit of glamour. Touches of gold everywhere, of course, makes it look glamorous. So I can sit here with the girls, you know, beautiful candles, beautiful place settings, and, you know, glasses of champs or a cheese board. And this section here is just really cozy and comfy. Actually, what I should have started with, friends, was this. You can see I've got these two fabulous faux hydrangeas, big hydrangeas in the big urns, and they are there to sort of denote, to separate. Well, there's the living room there, and there's the dining room, and here we are in this space. So what I lack in floor space, I'm always looking to make use of vertical space. So by having the eye kind of, really draw up, it's just, sort of, they're like signposts, aren't they? Saying, ta-da, here we are in the kitchen, and it's all very glamorous and gorgeous. Love the gold, which of course marries in with the vanilla wine. So gold touches, gold sink, very pretty. And I love just this splashback, just marrying. Again, because the area is sort of small, I want a continuity. I think that's the point I'm trying to get across. Continuity in the bench top and then in the splashback. And you'll notice no overhead hanging lights, which is unusual because mostly we're used to seeing kitchens, with beautiful, overhead lighting. I didn't do that on purpose because I wanted to be able to see right from the courtyard. In fact, in the garden room, and as I've said earlier in the piece, we will do a whole garden tour as well, where we'll start in the garden room. I wanted to have that very clear vision all the way through the front courtyard, through the living room, through the kitchen, dining room, and right out, continuing on through the back. So it's just a really great space. I wanted to keep open shelving because, again, it's small, and I just wanted to have a bit of fun with that. It's a bit bistro-y looking, and just all my little cooking accoutrements and things. More roosters, more chickens, you can see. And love the big granite oven. She's a real hard worker, toughie. Beautiful black granite, the Ilvi oven. I do love to cook, and I get a lot done. In here. Little cup of tea station, but just the openness of this. It's glamorous, but it's also got a really nice kind of warmth to it. I love all of the gold hardware on the pulls, on the drawers and things. Again, just picking up all those little touches of gold. So this has been a really great project to do. Functional, you're in that triangle, golden triangle, fridge, sink, oven, dishwasher there, bin here, lots of lovely big, open drawers and things here, plenty of room for pots and pans. It's perfect. I love it. So you may have noticed that I haven't made a feature of the range wood, and I love when, I've done that in previous kitchens where it's, there's the range wood. But again, because the space is small and I wanted a very chic, clean, elegant look, and in the black cabinetry, I thought it was best just to do, the faux cupboards in front of it, and just to keep this whole area just really clean and flowing through. And here's a really fun little detail, friends, you'll see throughout the house. One of my secret, well, it's hardly a secret, design plans or thoughts, if you like, use your fruit. I love using fruit as a decorative item. How cute is this? Just look, a little, fun little red bowl. Do you know that bowl goes back to about 1975? I remember Mum buying this from a very groovy homeware store when we lived in Sydney. So that bowl is easily, again, 50 years old, very groovy at the time. So because it was my mum's, that's why I've got a little dash of red tomatoes, there's some onions there, and just mirroring, an old Marie Claire cookbook. Little bit of basil, always fresh herbs. And that's the other thing. I always really like to have a light on, just a lamp here at the bench, just for that soft evening light. I leave that on at night, and it's nice. So this is a really important little sort of area here, because smack bang in the middle of the house. So it's really connecting, you know, the dining room just here, and then of course the kitchen and the living room behind me. So I really wanted to do a lot with this wall. Like, you know, not for 1 minute did I not think we were going to decorate here. And the piece that obviously is the real knockout is this mirror, and I really hope you can get that sense of, even though the house is small, it's the mirrors that, you know, all bouncing light off each other. So when you're standing in one position, you know, I'm here, but I can see the reflection outside. If you're over there and you're looking here, you can see back that way. So mirrors really are a connector, I think, and particularly in a small space. Well, that's what I think. This is gorgeous, isn't it? A knockout, this French provincial style, very heavy, like, you know, that took a couple of blokes to put up safely. And I love just that green patina. And then of course that story, you know, the floral story, or the beautiful prints, which I had done through a very well-known Melbourne, what are they called? Picture frame. And of course, you know, my favourite flowers. We've got the lilac, dahlias, tulips, and of course the beautiful iris. And again, just picking up on this very light lime wash, green lime wash frame. And love those plates, absolutely gorgeous. So vertical, up, up, up in a small space is a key design point. As you can see, I make the very most of every single opportunity and square inch in this house, my darlings. And so, you know, there's a door. What are you going to do with it? Well, I've got to tell you, these are my favourite tea towels that I bought about 10 years ago, and they're from the American brand. A lot of you girls will know this. Michelle Design Works. And I remember buying, I think I've got a dozen of them, and they're so pretty. Look at that, with the bunny and the radish, and of course there's lavender and lemons, and oh, the lemon's beautiful. Look at this, so clear and bright. So the artwork, and I got them and I thought they're far too pretty to use as a tea towel to be wiping dishes. So my plan was, in fact, I actually wanted to, in fact, frame them and be able to have them up as, you know, beautiful decorative prints around the house at some point. Haven't got a spot for them here in this house, but who knows what house might be coming up in the future. Did I actually just say that? You've got to be kidding me. But anyway, maybe, who knows what's coming. So I keep these, I love to just hang them here and just keep them all in very, very good working order. Now this is just a treat. It's like a little Aladdin's cave in here, and full of all my favourite pretty little salt and pepper shakers and vases, and there's a vase for every occasion, napkins, and then some of the cookware, you know, the ice cream maker and the big roasting pan, and, you know, sort of the NutriBullet and all that kind of thing. So let me show you some of my favourites. Love Facebook Marketplace finds, and this has been a beauty. This was handcrafted by a lovely old Italian gentleman. He and his wife were downsizing, and I got this incredible piece for about $600. I could not believe my luck. Took about 4 men to bring it into the house. They were all glaring at me by the end of it, but I was very glad to have it. Great shelving on it, and then these lovely glass shelves as well in white, classic white. Looks great with the black kitchen. And of course everybody knows I'm just, you know, a mad plate collector, as many of you girls are. So all the Port Miriam is here, the beautiful, you know, pink collection, the old Italian collection, just all the green things, just all the beautiful, look, just all my little birdie. The incredible Bordello Pinheiro collection is here. So, and I love to actually, you know, put things on display. So again, it's this layering. You know, I've got 3 layers here, the beautiful charger in the wonderful lilac, and then the Chelsea collection placemat, and then with another pretty plate. So I'm always layering things, and you want things to be on display. So obviously we're loving the display, but equally I've got lots of, you know, beautiful things in here too. Just all the wonderful napkins to store, you know, loving these, the Italian ones I was referring to that came in the pretty box, beautiful linens, you know, old things. I've had this whole little collection, little cocktail napkins, 20 years, the Rebecca Oodle from London, lots of, you know, all my little pretty things from Provence, just the napkin holders, more napkins here. You know, again, another great find from Facebook Marketplace, just, you know, the really gorgeous decorative little cake knife and, you know, little slice there. This is a great piece. I absolutely love it. And the Port Merion napkins too. These are beautiful as well. So yeah, there's always something pretty to enjoy, and of course, you know, I love having all my friends and family over for lunch and doing a lovely table for them. People really appreciate it, and I enjoy it most of all. Well, friends, as I've been referring to this entire time about wanting the house to be, you know, like a florist shop, I wanted a really feminine, pretty house full of colour, full of flowers, which I think you can see is the overriding theme. Well, what do you reckon about this? The bedroom, of course, you know, is here where I've really just had a lot of fun. This incredible wallpaper called Fairies in the Garden, which I thought was rather adorable, from Nettie and Polly, very good Melbourne-based wallpaper company. It's not actually wallpaper, it's artwork screened on, and I've got to give props to my wallpaper man, Serge from Prestige Wallpaper. He is like, mwah, chef's kiss on wallpaper men here in Melbourne, because he does all the best homes, because the artwork just matching it all up. And as you can see, you know, just taking a pan around, the incredible detail of this print was really exquisite. So practically every flower that I absolutely love is here. White hydrangeas, pink lilies, pink and white peonies, there's white camellias, birds, butterflies. It's just an exquisite print, and I go to sleep, put my head on the pillow, and I sleep like a baby. So let's have a look around the room. Oh, look at this. I love when the sun comes in the afternoon. It's really pretty in here, and, you know, just a gentle breeze coming in. So I wanted this room just to have a really light and airy feeling to it. And while out there, and a lot of you girls on Instagram will know, I've got like, it's hydrangea land out there. I've got all my beautiful pink hydrangeas in the terracotta pots, which look gorgeous on a summer's morning. But I didn't want to look straight out onto the garden. So I think having shears, and look, isn't that pretty? Just the way they're wafting through in the afternoon breeze. I like to have shears just to soften the transition from the room out to your view. And of course, these beautiful pink curtains, really lush, and it's a great fabric, really warm, because, you know, it gets cold down here on the peninsula in winter. So I wanted, when this is all closed in, that I just be in a really warm pink cocoon. Oh, let's have a little spritz while we're here. That's gorgeous, a little juicy couture one. So just a cheap and cheerful little perfume, but I did rather fancy the pink bow. So the only piece of furniture, well, not the only, I'm sorry, there are 3 pieces here. I loved this little green chest of drawers, you know, so just for knickers and, you know, bibs and bobs, everyday things. The rest of the wardrobe, I've got the world's tiniest little wardrobe, but I jam pack it. It's all I need. Works fine. Great chair. I've had this one for absolutely years and years, maybe about 20 years or so. It's gone through several different upholstering versions, but I like it just in that really nice purple colour. Obviously we love purple and pink, and then just this great little Queen Anne piece. So, you know, I can just sit here and, you know, take off my shoes and do all the bits and pieces I need to do. So again, making the most of small spaces. So in this little room, I had to make the decision to put the bed up against one side. It's not ideal, but you know what? People can just live with it. If I've got a girlfriend over, it doesn't matter. If the kids are over with their partners, well, they all have to just climb over each other and make do, because queen size bed, and then I wanted to keep this really gorgeous chair, which I've had for, again, very long time. I don't know, 20 years or so, because again, sitting there, cup of tea, you know, window open, looking outside, it's just a really great spot. And so for the bed, and I talk a lot about, you know, the classics and things that I've had for a very long time. So, you know, this bedspread, old as anything. These cushions, I had this whole really pretty set made for a photo shoot about, you know, 25 years ago or something. And so come around and I'll show you how I like to make the bed, which is the Bunny Williams way, because I know, I mean, we're all madly in love with Bunny. Of course she is. She's our queen of style, and it's the Bunny Williams way to make the bed. So let's have a look at that. So for a guest room, you just want it to look as, you know, rich and lush and comfortable and pretty as possible. So I like to make the bed the way Bunny suggests, which is she likes her pillows behind, so layering 2 pillows, then she puts her Europeans in front, and then she puts her other decorative cushions. And as I said, you know, I had this little pink set made up for a photo shoot, you know, such a long time ago. And I like to have things made, because then you've really got something that's uniquely yours. You know, you're not buying it, you know, off the shelf somewhere. It's just exactly as you like it. So just this very pretty pink set, the boudoir cushion, the square, and these little cuties. And, you know, again, florals, botanicals. I love the prints on the wall here. And these were the cheapest and easiest and prettiest thing to put together. I was at a, you know, one of the little country towns here in regional Victoria, found a fabulous little antique store, found the most beautiful book on roses, and then I took the pictures from the book and then had them all beautifully framed, just with that, you know, that pretty light gold frame, which is gorgeous. So they, again, 25 years that I've had this, and they always work. Timeless classic rose prints, you can't go wrong. Love the bed head, lovely, you know, pinky velvet, and these little prints up here, which are so adorable, I actually had made for Olympia when she was a little girl, and of course she's now grown up and modern in the city, so I offered to keep them beautiful little prints. These were just little cards that I then again, had beautifully framed, and that's just a pretty keepsake. So the room's very, very simple, but it's comfortable. There's always, something pretty on the table, something to read, something to smell good, pretty, little throw just to snuggle down. Love to just sit in this chair. And as I said, sometimes I even come and I visit the guest bedroom for a lie down. It's so pretty. So I could have a big lie down right about now. I have a nana nap after a cup of tea. This is a very, very comfortable little room, let me tell you. Now, I did just mention Bunny Williams, who is the doyen of all things, glamorous and gorgeous. And I started following Bunny after I bought this book, of course, the iconic An Affair with a House, published in 2005. And I just wanted to mention this because not only isn't really just everyone's, go-to reference book, you might enjoy on Instagram, and I hope you're following me on Instagram at Country Style and Life. Scroll through. I actually have a segment where we're doing book reviews. Not so much a review as in this is what I think of it, but more reviewing books and taking you on a journey through the books. We go for a stroll through, the incredible pages of the favourite books that I have, because, there's a lot of them out there. And this is, of course, one of my absolute favourites. And so I do a live and catch up with everybody and take you through every single page of the book. And so even as we're looking at the beautiful pictures, the photography is exquisite. It's just about learning, what is it the Bunny's doing? What is she showing us? What is she teaching us? And every single page, as you look through it, there's something to find and to then take it for yourself, bring it into your home. And of course, that's why these kind of books are, just worth their weight in gold. So join me on lives, and of course, they are available on Instagram in replay. I think you'll enjoy that. So friends, when I am either two things, I am rich because I won the lottery, or just might have to marry a millionaire, whichever comes first, and I don't think either of them are happening. I would want a house that I could build, and the first room I'd build is a room to house all my tablecloths. And that is my dream in life. It must be silly to you, but it's my dream. So until such time, I have to make do. And I think it actually works pretty well. In fact, in this spare bedroom, I've commandeered the closet, the wardrobe for just to have all of my beautiful tablecloths, which I've been collecting for a very, very long time. Some of them, this is in fact the latest and the newest from beautiful Origine Italiana. Look at this. This is called Tule because of the incredible, I'd make a dress out of that if I could. All the beautiful things I love, the tulips, the flowers, little butterflies and birds and bugs and things. So love, love, love that for a beautiful bright, summer's lunch or dinner. And, some of them, this is another one. Oh, the weight, they're heavy because I've got that very big setting. And as I said, when we do the garden tour, I'll take you outside both the front and in the rear courtyard. I've got the huge table out there that can seat 14. So these very large size tablecloths are the go for me. This is gorgeous too, beautiful lemons. And made in Florence, nothing beats Italian linen. Look at this, gorgeous. Beautiful weight, beautiful quality. So I love to have a lemon print, which is gorgeous. And you'll recognise this one from our first video when we did setting a spring table. And as you can see, featuring all my favourite colours here. Look at this, the magnificent purple and the green. So, just divine. Equally, I've got some really fun little pieces that I've had forever for example, oh, look, where's my little, oh, here it is. 25 years old, great little tablecloth, all the way from Francis Ford Coppola's winery in the Napa Valley. So, you know, for just a really daggy lunch, you know, Sunday lunch with the kids, if we're doing, you know, hamburgers on buns and things, I love to have just a very simple and humble little tablecloth. I have a lot of things made myself, and this is where I'm talking on Instagram a lot about, you know, investing in your own soft furnishings and having things made yourself. This is another very large size, beautiful, just that black and white damask print. So really chic, really timeless. That's 20 years old easily as well. Things from Provence. So, you know, ones that I've had from my travels away. Love the pink there. Oh, this one's classic Provence. Look at that, the beautiful, beautiful saffron yellow. And so you've got a whole range, a whole colour scheme. Cheap and cheerful, things I've had made, you know, little gingham from Spotlight. So things like this to me, tablecloths, napkins. Oh, this is gorgeous too. Then the green version of the black and white. Isn't that marvellous? So this is actually a round tablecloth, and then this is the big rectangular size. So lots of beautiful things. Oh, this is another favourite. Look, purple, the lavender from Provence, both of them. So, you know, when I'm looking at all of this is from Nice. You know, I arrived in Nice, was there for about 5 minutes. I saw that hanging in a shop and fairly pounced on it. So I use and enjoy and care for and love each and every piece, and every time I set the table for my family and friends, everybody enjoys it, and I'm able to tell the story, build a tablescape around the tablecloth, and then also to tell the story of where I was, who I was with, what I was doing the day that I bought the tablecloth, which is kind of fun. I had to show you a couple of other absolute favourites of the tablecloths, my darlings, because yes, look, the kids do laugh at me. They're like, really, Mum? How many tablecloths does a gal really need? Well, you know, there's a tablecloth for every setting, and I think, as I mentioned in the first video that's there, setting the spring table, I liken that process to the way I get dressed. You know, I like to set the mood, the tone, what's our vibe, what's our theme. And for me, it does all start with the tablecloth. So sometimes it's dressy, sometimes it's casual, sometimes it's super casual, sometimes we're indoors, sometimes we're outdoors, and you've got to have a tablecloth for every mood and moment, don't you, my darling? So love a classic toile. You know, you can't beat that. Just a beautiful green toile there. That's an oldie. In fact, a lot of them are. Look at this one. Oh, and they're heavy. That's my tip. If you're doing this, get a very, very solid coat hanger, because, you know, they kind of weigh a ton. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. Just the colours on all of that. And I've got the matching cushions to this as well. 30 years old on that one. Beautiful florals, the pink, the green, touches of lilac. Got to love that. And then I'm not much of a blue person, as you might have imagined, even though I love it. I love seeing, you know, my girlfriends, quite a few of them have got gorgeous homes that really are all blue and white, and I absolutely love it. So I don't do it very often, but I did like this little one because it's got you know, touches of green through it, and then pops of orange and gold, and, you know, and of course in the beautiful paisley. So a really classic French. That also was from a trip to Provence, as was this one. This is one of my absolute all-time favourites. Look, just the exquisite pink and orange, a colour combination that I really do absolutely love. I do always pots of tulips in the spring of pink and orange together. Look at this. Isn't it fantastic? Lovely big size to this. And I'll tell you a very funny story very quickly. When I went to, I mentioned in the living room that I took a tour of Melbourne gals. Oh, and a Sydney-sider, Julie. So Marilyn, beautiful Marilyn, Wendy, Julie, Ali, Joy, JA and Gail. So 7 women from Melbourne and Sydney and myself, and we went to Paris and Provence, and it was just the most fantastic tour. In fact, 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago in July. It was our last day in Provence, and we were catching the train, on our way to catch the train at Avignon to go back to Paris. And we stopped in the town of Beau d'Art for lunch, and we were really on the clock. But there was the most fantastic little store, gorgeous boutique that I'd been to the year before and bought a couple of fabulous treats. We breezed in really quickly. Well, not breezed, we kind of flew in really. Mad buying, pulling things off racks and getting this and getting that and measuring tapes and who wants this and have you bought that? And this is when I got this gorgeous piece and the matching napkins, of course, too. And literally we, you know, flew in, flew out, got on the train, you know, luggage galore, bags and boxes galore. It was really kind of lots of fun. So the girls are watching this, and I think they will be. They'll remember what an incredible time we had away, and that incredible moment in the store with our fabulous tablecloths. So here's something that I think is really worth noting about the house, friends. Again, you know, it's that thing of what can you do in a small space? And as I was referring to earlier, being in the kitchen and having the big urns, you know, with the faux hydrangeas there to create that statement. It's about up. You'll really notice around, you know, I've got a lot going on vertically to make up for what I'm lacking in floor space. And this is a great example of it. I love this section. So we're coming in from the front door and we're literally landing here straight away in the living room. And this wall could have just been left alone, but no, not with me. It is a great opportunity, I think, to do something with it. So starting with a great table. I love this piece. Again, wrought iron. It matches our wrought iron piece over there. Always light, painted in the beautiful green with the wood top. So again, very botanical looking, very warm and, you know, natural and pretty looking, elegant, lovely big gold mirror. So lots of mirrors around the house. Love the gold. And then always layering in front of the mirror as well. I love my pretty little girl here, you know, urns, little feature things, lots of favourite books. In fact, this is a favourite, The Secret Language of Flowers. Isn't this beautiful? Notes on the hidden meanings of flowers in art. And you know, this gorgeous book was bought to me, or was given to me, I should say, for my birthday from an old boyfriend, someone I was madly in love with when I was about 21. My friend Michael, and every year he rings me for my birthday. So thank you, Mike. Mwah. Love you. Beautiful book. So just lots of little pretty things, you know, little things like this. What a cutie. My little green. I bought that because of the colour. So little green clock. She's from Germany. And in fact, bang on time. Yeah, 3:10. There you go. Plates, putting them on display. Lamps for warmth. Colour, it's a whole colour scheme, gold, botanical prints, and of course then these two fantastic prints behind me. Here, let me just swap over here. The peony and the rose print. These are just real favourites of mine, and just, this is a gorgeous piece too, a market place fine, but a friend of mine found it for me. And so again, it's a small area, but look what's going on. And then because I've got the wrought iron table here, this is actually a favourite thing to do to cover up the cords from the lamps. I just then place some cushions, which then just softens the whole thing. So there you go. A small area. It could have just been empty, but not in this house. So possibly the world's prettiest, smallest little laundry. But again, as always, making the most of the space. So pretty and productive. So just keeping it really simple, black and white. I've got some great storage along here, manages all the doonas and sheets and towels and things. Storage then just with some pretty baskets up there. And you know what? I'm done doing people's laundry. So when I really thought about this space, I thought, no, I want to make this more of a really girly powder room when my girlfriends come over. Lots of pretty soaps that I've been collecting forever, and you know, all the usual pretty things. Although being practical, I really love the black, the chic black washer and dryer there. I've done a little sink just so that, you know, you can just delicately wash your hands and be on your way. But this space was about, again, a mirror, so the girls can come in, shut that main door, pop their bag here, check their lippy, check their hair, and of course, you know, the fun pop of pink here in the, you know, in the lab. And again, small space, but look, just a cute little delicate console table, pretty mirror, some flowers, and yeah, just everyone comes in here and they're like, oh, it smells so pretty and it looks so nice. So yeah, but pretty and productive. Welcome to the dining room now, friends, and this is where our story might finish today, because this is such a great spot. Again, it's not a huge formal, you know, amazing dining room. It's just a smallish space running lengthways. So I've had this terrific table and chair set, which I really like, just in a very neutral, you know, that sort of French lime wash tones, which, because it's so neutral, I pack a lot of colour onto it. And in terms of what is happening on this dining table, I have to tell you, I think being an empty nester, and when I look at it and there's nothing there, I don't like it. It makes me feel a little lonely. So in lieu of having, you know, the beautiful faces of my children, their loved ones, and friends around the table, I like to see this area looking busy and fun and colourful and full of lots of pretty things that I really like. So let's just take a little look and see who gets to be on the dining table. So the idea is, you know, for there's a table the size, seating for 8, if this were empty, to me it would look just really sort of a bit sad and sorry. I like to see the fun of the pops of colour, and as I said, lots of, you know, pretty things here. So starting with, you know, these guys are great, the faux orange, they just bring a lot of zing. And I must mention too, you can see how I've duplicated the beautiful curtains here. So in this section, which really suits, I think, this environment as well, and it's a perfect mirror of what's going on at the French doors there. So that's a nice bit of continuity there. And again, I've got shears the way I did in my bedroom, because I do like, and look at that, the pretty breeze coming through. It softens the look through to the rear courtyard, the back courtyard. There are days where I want to see it when it's all set up and looking fabulous, and days when I just want to soften that view. So I really like shears for that purpose. So look, books, lots of favourites. my beautiful Limoges teacup, so close to the kettle there. You know, and pretty things that I bought when I was in France. You know, various things, lots of pretty cutlery and crockery. Love my orange plates, lots of pretty books, and yeah, just everything that makes me smile and that makes me happy. Oh, my fabulous rooster. He's a handsome old fellow, look at him. And, you know, even a little pot, just of, you know, some pretty pansies. As I said, all my favourite books, so if I'm making a cup of tea, I can sit here, I can feel that I'm amongst friends, and yeah, it just gives me a nice sense of comfort. I talk so often about how I sit around having cups of tea, here, there and everywhere. I thought I'd better finish with one, my darlings. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have enjoyed every moment. I certainly have loved having your company from the very front door through to the very end, and you know, in all the little nooks and crannies and spaces. I hope that you can see here in this house that, you know, it really is a lovely extension of, you know, my style and personality, as your home should be. You know, it's where we, you know, we're living, we're loving, we're sleeping, we're cooking, we're feeding friends and family, like it's our life. And so to have a home that brings you comfort and security and a sense of, you know, really belonging and feeling happy within yourself. Something I do want to say is, even though I have a lot of things, I quite understand that, you know, possessions are not a substitute for, you know, the people that you love, the relationships that you have, the friends you enjoy. So even though the house is full of things, the wonderful thing that I do here is that I share it with so many people, and my girlfriends love coming over, and you know, we sit here on the couch, and you know, I've had big parties here. I've had, you know, my 60th birthday. We have lots of lunches and cups of tea and gardening afternoons together. So I really enjoy my home, and it's been wonderful to share it with you. What have we seen? What have we learned? Well, I think certainly, I hope you get a sense of the colour is a really important part of, you know, decorating, having things that you really relate to. I mean, every single, you know, little thing, the books, the candles, the cushions, the frames, the pictures, the hydrangeas, everything, you know, even my little tea set, is a reflection of my interests and the things that I love. Oh, and just on that point, yeah, talk about loving, you know, being interested in things. Have you watched episode 1 and 2 on my YouTube channel? That was a bit of fun. That was how to plant a spring planter. So I'm doing these YouTube videos for my own pleasure and enjoyment, and of course in the hopes of, you know, having you come along and be with me here. So that's been a home tour. Time for a cup of tea. Going to lie down on the couch, but I'll look forward to having your company next time with whatever we're doing next time. I don't know, we might do some cooking in the kitchen. How about that? But until we're all together again, my darlings, I hope you stay well and all is well in your world. Lots of love, God bless, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.